Hi, welcome to the College Access for Students with Disabilities presentation here at McHenry High School. I am Curtis Menke, the College and Career Counselor. For our live viewers, we are glad that you're here. If you're watching the recorded version of this, we welcome you as well and are so glad that you're able to take in this information. Again, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the recorded version. Again, we are welcome that you're here. We're glad you're here. This presentation will hit kind of a more specific portion of our student population, but a population that deserves, again, fair and equal access to whatever they want to do beyond these walls. So before we get too far into things, I have a couple of guests with us tonight. Jarrett, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Jarrett Walski. I'm the coordinator of accommodations at McHenry County College. So essentially, I'm the second person you interact with in our college after you talk with our front desk and schedule your meeting. And so we help determine all of your accommodations, talk about assistive technology, and just ensure that you have a good and accessible experience here at McHenry County College.
That's excellent. Thank you so much, Jarrett. And then Allie?
So I'm Allie Hazy. I'm a Disability Services Manager at UW-Whitewater Center for Students with Disabilities. Along the same lines as Jarrett, I kind of do the same thing. I meet with students, manage a caseload, and make sure that all your accommodations are implemented in the classroom, and help, communicate with faculty and staff if they have questions about accommodations.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Allie. Both Jarrett and Allie will speak to what their respective institutions provide as far as accommodation services, what the process looks like, what the outcomes look like, what the supports look like. Again, MCC is our in-district community college, so every student and family that lives within the McHenry 156 district also lives within McHenry County College's community college district. So again, that's why we talk about MCC so much as opposed to other community colleges, is because every one of our families is also a family with MCC. Your tax dollars are already funding their institution, so they are going to be significantly less expensive for most families if that is the next step option that you choose. And then at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, because they're so close to us, just a little over an hour away, they are always a favorite amongst students, McHenry High School students who consider four-year college for their next step. And Wisconsin-Whitewater is known both regionally and nationally for their amazing supportive accommodation services. So we will hear from both of those institutions. Allie and Jarrett, I'm going to pull you off screen just for a moment here. So before we turn things over to our guests, I got just a couple of things I'll share with you here. This slide tends to make its way into basically every presentation that I do, to the point that students I like to think lovingly, roll their eyes every time they see it. This really represents the one goal that I have for every McHenry High School student, which is get trained or educated in something after you graduate with us. And if you do something that falls within one of those four boxes there, then you've met that goal. Whether it be looking at military options, workforce training, which I define as careers that do not require a four-year bachelor's degree, or the two at the bottom, which both result in 4 years of college and a bachelor's degree. You just, in one circumstance, MCC, you're living at home for the first 2 years, and in the other circumstance, you're living away from home at the school all 4 years. As long as I've got a couple live viewers with us, I figured I'd take 30 seconds and just give a couple general updates here. For any of our viewers who are parents and guardians of 9th through 11th grade students, those students will be selecting their 24-25 courses after Thanksgiving break. So we just want to give you a heads up on that. There will be a lot more information coming out soon, but I figured, hey, why not let a couple of people know tonight? For any parents and guardians of seniors here, MCC's application is open at their website. It takes most students about 5 minutes to fill out. I am always more than happy to sit down with students and complete that with them as well. The vast majority of four-year colleges and universities are still accepting applications, including Wisconsin-Whitewater. And then the big question that our seniors and families have, the FAFSA, which is, again, that financial aid application to make sure you're not paying more than you need to for your next step. Again, traditionally, the FAFSA opens up on October 1st. However, this year the FAFSA got blown up and is being rebuilt from scratch. I did receive confirmation earlier today that it will for sure become available in December, which to me probably means it'll be towards the end of December. So just be on the lookout for that. Once we get finalized information, that will come out. Families can take one small step towards completing the FAFSA but right now by acquiring an FSA ID. That's basically a PIN that you need to formally and securely submit the FAFSA at the end. The student needs one, and then one parent or guardian needs one. That is something that you can do now if you want to at least cross something off the list. So moving on here. Again, why do we offer this particular presentation? Quite simply, for access. We want to make sure that our students have an equal, accessible route to whatever they want to do beyond our walls. 26% of McHenry High School students qualify under the very, I'll use the very generic label of disabled, whether that be via an IEP, which is a special education accommodation plan, or a 504, which is a regular education accommodation plan. A couple quick slides on what MCC offers just as an educational institution. Again, accessible, affordable, student focused. Those are some of the pillars that I know MCC lives by. I have a firm belief in what MCC offers as far as education and training, not just because they're close, but because they do provide a superior education and training experience. They're 15 to 20 minutes away from most of our families, and in almost every case will be significantly less expensive than most of the other options that are out there. As far as what students can learn there, again, I like to say that there's two very general sort of educational reasons why somebody takes their next step at the community college. Reason one is the one that most of us think of, and that is the transfer route. So that would be for someone who intends to go to college for 4 years and earn a bachelor's degree. They're just going to do years 1 and 2 at MCC and then transfer to a different institution for years 3 and 4. Again, whether you take Psychology 101 at MCC or Psychology 101 at U of I, you're taking Psychology 101, you're learning the same thing, you're earning the same credit. The other reason why our students will often look MCC's way is for career paths that don't require or don't need 4 years of college. MCC has a wealth of shorter term training programs, whether they be Associate of Applied Science, which are not non-transfer associate degrees, which you can do in typically 2 years, or they have dozens of certificate programs, which are done in a matter of months as opposed to years. So again, they really do offer something for just about all of our students, regardless of their interests, abilities, or whatnot. All right, Jared, I'm going to pull you back on the screen here. And then I'm gonna queue up Jarrett here, and we'll hear what MCC has to offer as far as their access and disability services. Jarrett, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So this presentation, everyone, is going to be it's a short presentation, about 10 slides. Just kind of talking more specifically about our office, what you can expect when interacting with our office, what we offer, and kind of just some tips to prepare for that transition from high school to college if you choose to come here to MCC. And what you'll find is that what I'm presenting on is going to be very similar across different institutions. Some of the wording may be different, but it'll be good so that regardless of where you go, you'll kind of have an idea of what to expect. And so what is Access and Disability Services? So we're the office on campus designated to provide reasonable accommodations for otherwise qualified students and community members with disabilities. So we partner with instructors, staff, student organizations, and community partners, kind of like this, to make MCC an accessible and inclusive environment for all students and community members. And essentially, I mean, what I really want to highlight on this slide is, again, that part on reasonable accommodations. We kind of talk about like the steak and potatoes or the bread and butter of our office is ensuring that you have those accommodations and that those accommodations are implemented so that you have an accessible experience at MCC. And so this is kind of an overview just of our team. I know it's hard. There isn't a picture of our team. It'd probably be beneficial if there was. But so this is kind of who you may interact with in our office. So we have our director, Chelsea Winterstein. Katie and I are both coordinators of accommodations here. So our role is really to kind of, as I mentioned earlier, to help you determine accommodations and then make sure they're implemented. We have academic support coaches, which I'll talk about in a future slide, but they're essentially individuals that'll help you kind of transition to the college setting and work on those skills related to student success. Our administrative assistant, Becky Johnson, who does amazing work and helps out our students and coordinates all the meetings and things like that for our office. And then we have various other employees too. So we have student employees, we have tutors, we have accessibility aides that help out in the classroom. Say, for instance, if a student needs assistance with like physically moving something related to in a chemistry lab, let's say. So we have various workers that are part of our office and that kind of keep this all running to ensure that we're meeting your accommodations. And so then more specifically, what do we offer? So as I mentioned, what the bread and butter is the reasonable accommodations, and that's based on determination, meaning when we meet with you and we determine accommodations on a case-by-case basis. We also offer consultation with faculty and staff, and that's to ensure that your accommodations are implemented. And so as well that faculty and staff know what accommodations are and the best way to serve students. We offer certain amounts of assistive technology. So for instance, we offer technology that can provide audiobooks or where you'll be able to record your lecture. So we offer different types of technology that, again, is aimed at helping you have a more accessible experience. As I mentioned, we have academic support coaches. Again, those are the individuals that help you to really navigate from high school to college and build what we call executive functioning skills. So being able to plan your classes, to organize all of your notes, to make sure you do your homework and get that turned in on time. And so they're crucial for really the success of the students we found. We also offer math and writing-based tutoring that's specific to our office. We also have the Sage Learning Center, which offers drop-in tutoring and offers a wider variety of subjects. We coordinate with community partnerships in local high schools like you. We also offer disability-related events and celebrations, particularly in October. And then just disability training resources for the campus and the community, again, with this goal of accessibility. And so again, the services provided by our office include academic support coaching, tutoring. What we really want to emphasize though with the services is that they're offered on a first come and first served basis. As a result, we encourage students that if you want to receive these services to sign up early for them. And the reason being is that the accommodations are what we're legally bound to provide, but the services, they're free to all students. Of course, you're paying tuition, so nothing on top of your tuition, but they're services in the sense that they're not able to be guaranteed, or it's not something that we can legally require. We just offer them to ensure that you're successful here at MCC. And what we found is that by having these services, students have benefited a lot, especially if students are maybe nervous about coming to college or are worried about kind of just navigating the college system, whether it's at MCC or beyond. And so how do you register with our office? So I wanted to point out that for those of you that may have been on our website before, we just launched our brand new website. So it's completely updated in the sense that all of the processes are available for anyone that would be reading our website. And so the first step in registering with our office is completing an intake form, and then you can attach any relevant documentation. The intake form leads to what's called an intake meeting. Different offices call it different things. Essentially, that meeting is where it's a discussion between typically a coordinator or a director about what accommodations that we can provide. The thing I want to mention is that specifically for students, that students can bring any support or parent or primary caregiver to that meeting, but our focus on that meeting is really trying to hear from the student as much as possible. So really kind of automatically developing some of those self-advocacy skills right away in that meeting. And so kind of to help you think about like planning for college and some of the differences, and my colleagues at Whitewater will talk about this as well. But the big things or the big differences, you could say, is that in high school and even before high school, the school identifies the students with the disabilities, versus in college, you must self-identify. And the way you self-identify here with our office is by completing that intake form. Again, as I just briefly mentioned with the intake, families and caregivers are highly involved in the process in high school. While they're encouraged to be involved and can be involved, the emphasis is really placed on the student as being a self-advocate, especially because as a college, we're bound by privacy rules with what we can and cannot say or what we can and cannot provide to people beyond the student in terms of information. In high school, the case manager oversees accommodations versus in college, the student must notify ADS if there are any accommodation concerns. So again, it comes back to this point that I'll keep reiterating about really building those self-advocacy skills, because we don't know if there's a concern or an issue unless you tell us. And so I think even now starting to develop that and really communicating with instructors or communicating during an IEP or 504 meeting is crucial. And it's just kind of laying the foundation for then when your student goes on to college. And so the high school guarantees success, while the college here we guarantee access. And the reason why is kind of the different laws that govern each setting. I'm not going to get into that into this presentation, but essentially what I want to first say is that while we're guaranteeing access, we want to ensure obviously that your student is successful, or for students that are watching that you are successful here at MCC. But the thing is, I kind of explain it where in terms of high school, the high school is going to ensure that you're taken from one side of the football field all the way into the end zone. Where in college, we're ensuring that everyone's starting at an equal playing field so that you're all, say, starting at the 25-yard line. And so sometimes it's kind of, it's difficult, or we have kind of more intentional conversations during those intake meetings about what accommodations we can provide and what accommodations we cannot provide as a result of the two differing settings. And so what are your rights as a college student? So there's many different rights, but we kind of just summarize them into three main ones, which are equal access to courses, programs, services, activities, and facilities, reasonable accommodations that provide, again, that equal opportunity, that access, that same starting line, and then appropriate privacy of disability documentation in the interactions with our office. And then for your responsibilities as a college student, again, it's really to start with the self-advocacy by setting up that intake appointment with us and then providing the appropriate documentation, to seek academic support, counseling, assistance when needed and as needed, and then to follow all the course content, academic standards, the code of conduct, policies and procedures that are set forth by the instructor in the syllabus, the department, and the college as a whole. And so how can you be successful at MCC? So these are some of the things that you can start now as you're planning for college. Again, whether it's at MCC, at Whitewater, or any institution or post-secondary institution, so after high school, that you may go to. So the first one is to anticipate the college environment, which I know is a big ask because it's hard. If you've never been to college, how do you anticipate the environment? So I'd encourage first, like going on tours or taking advantage of college visits and things like that to get a better sense of the college, in this case, MCC. And the thing is, with the college environment, you have a lot more freedom in terms of your schedule and what courses you take and in the order in which you take some of those courses and how you take them. If they're completely flexible online, meaning at your own pace, you just have to turn things in at the deadline. If you're taking a blended course that's online or in person, or say you want to take a course that's at 8 a.m., you could take a course that's at 7 p.m. So I think knowing, and getting to the second point, kind of knowing how you learn best. Like if you're a morning person, then take morning classes. If you're not by any means, then take evening classes. If you prefer learning online, then do so. If you have a difficulty kind of concentrating or focusing on classes that are online, especially like that experience during the pandemic, then consider taking in-person classes. So kind of taking an inventory of kind of your learning preferences, your learning style is going to be good in terms of when you're selecting courses. And we talk about that during the intake meeting. And currently right now, talk with your teachers, talk with your instructors and your case manager when you have a question or concern, because that's the exact same skill that you're going to need to use here at MCC. And also understand how your disability or your health challenge impacts your education. And the reason for that is because during the intake meeting, that's what we're going to be asking. We're going to be looking for the barriers that are present so that the accommodation can help remove that barrier so there's the equal access. And right now, if or when you have a 504 and IEP meeting, prepare for it. Look over your current IEP or 504 plan and come ready to ask questions or to talk about things with everyone that's present at that meeting. And as a result, actively participate, because all of these skills are going to help you when you meet with us. And I promise it's not a difficult meeting. We don't try to make things challenging or anything like that. I hope that you find when you meet with us, it's a good meeting. And we meet with students and in any way that's best for you. So in the sense, we have intake meetings that are in person, that are on Zoom. We've done intakes on the phone, really whatever is the most accessible and preferred for you. We have those meetings. And so really that's kind of, I know, like a little snapshot of how to be successful at MCC or in college in general. And then the next slide is kind of just any questions, which I know we can get to at the end, but hopefully I'm going to try and set this up then for my colleagues at Whitewater, because a lot of the students that I've worked with, to Curtis's point, that come to MCC, if you come to MCC and your plan is to go then onto a four-year institution, a lot of our students do go on to Whitewater. And so you're going to see more about kind of their process and the similarities that we have. So again, it just kind of helps a continual seamless transition as you move on throughout, your college career. So thank you.
All right, excellent, Jarrett. Wealth of knowledge and information. Again, parents, guardians, I know sometimes this is a lot to take in, but please know you're supported through this, and we don't expect you to be scribbling notes down in the background. And again, for our live viewers, just as a reminder that this live stream will record at the exact same YouTube link that you're at right now watching this. So if you want to go back, you can certainly do that. All right, Jarrett, thank you. I'm going to pull you backstage. Allie, I'm going to pull.
Am I good to go?
Yep. And
All right.
I realized I accidentally pulled myself off stage.
I know. I was
I left Jarrett, but
confused for a second there, but
right.
no.
Just keeping everybody on their toes. That's what I'm going to say to that one.
That's totally fine.
All right.
So some of the information that I'm going to go over is going to be kind of redundant from what Jared had said, but it is still really valuable information. So there is, it's probably good that we're going through it twice, and it's consistent. So you can see kind of across the board, most schools have kind of the same process. It's not exactly the same, but pretty similar. So, all right. So some quick facts about UW-Whitewater. So we have two campuses. We have our main campus, which is our 4-year, and then we have our Rock County campus, which is our 2-year. We have students that if they do not get admitted to Whitewater, they can get admitted to Rock and still live on the Whitewater campus. And then they just change campuses once they get enough credits and a high enough GPA. They're able to just make that smooth transition. So you still get the experience of being on a 4-year campus and take a shuttle back and forth or commute to the Rock campus. And it's nice if students need like that smaller class size too. So yeah, we work very closely with the Rock County campus. So we are located in South Central Wisconsin. Our main campus has about 11,000 students. Our Rock County campus in Janesville has about 1,000. UW-Whitewater was founded 150 years ago as a teacher's college. So we are known for graduating the most licensed teachers in the state. We also are known to have the largest business college in the state of Wisconsin. And then we do have some specialty programs that are offered, like marine biology, social work, media arts and game development, communication sciences and disorders, and occupational safety. All right, so who's eligible for disability services? So we serve students with physical disabilities, students with autism, students with visual or hearing impairments, learning disabilities, ADHD, psychological disorders, TBIs, concussions, chronic health conditions, kind of all across the board. We have students that have chronic migraines, students if the student has diabetes. There is a service that we can offer that can probably help with that during their time at Whitewater. Okay, so differences between high school and college. I think Jarrett kind of laid this out nicely, and in the presentation that I typically do, we kind of have them side by side. But for the sake of time, I kind of just wanted to condense things down. So in college, you do not have an IEP or a 504 plan. You will have an accommodation plan, But you do not always have access to the same accommodations that were provided in high school, which is we don't modify tests. We can't fundamentally alter any courses, and students must request services and disclose their disability in order to receive their accommodations. So it's really important that students are filling out services after. Okay, so what accommodations can I have? So we have your typical extended time, low distraction for testing, sign language interpreting, assistive technology, Glean and Kurzweil. Things that we do not provide, we don't modify curriculum, as I mentioned before, using notes or a note card on test, exam retakes, extra time for tests, modified assignments. And then another really big one is we do not provide personal care aids. Going back to the extra time for assignments, one thing that I tell students is I don't want that to freak them out if that's something that they were used to receiving. We can work with instructors. A lot of stuff is case-by-case basis. So how do I access disability services at Whitewater? You will go online and submit an application. You will submit your documentation, IEP, 504, physician documentation. Sometimes students might be requested to submit more than one type of documentation. You'll meet with your disability service coordinator for an intake before your first semester begins, and then we discuss your accommodations, we review your documentation, and we will get you answers to your questions. All right, so other programs offered. So these are our fee-based services that we offer. So we have our summer transition program, and this is an opportunity for students, incoming freshmen, to take 2-3 credit courses live on campus and get familiar with disability services. Sorry, you're probably hearing my dog run into the kitchen right now. We have our adaptive transportation, which is Warhawk Wheels. And then we have Project Assist, which is our tutoring program, and Employment Connections, where we can work with students on employment, how to get workplace accommodations, doing your resume, different things like that, interview prep. So these are all of our fee-based services. If students utilize DVR, which I know Illinois has something similar, it's just not exactly DVR like Wisconsin has. But once students are in Wisconsin and they're on campus, they can apply for DVR services, and DVR usually helps pay for some of these programs. Again, I'm really sorry if you can hear my dog. She's just very loud. Okay, self-disclosure. So students are not required to request accommodations. If a student has been approved for services, they need to tell their professors if they want to use those services. Hold on just a second. Nyla, no more. Okay, I am so sorry. So it's really up to the student to initiate that conversation with their instructors about their accommodations. If a student chooses not to disclose, the instructor is not obligated to provide accommodations. Students are responsible for monitoring their own performance, attendance, and work. So one thing that I always tell students is that I'm never going to know your grades, and I'm not going to know if you're going to class. So it's really, really important that you reach out to us if you are struggling. So what does a disability service coordinator do? So every DSC has a caseload of about 100 to 150 students. We decide your accommodations, we answer questions, and refer students to on and off campus resources. We have check-in meetings with students. We help students develop self-advocacy and independence, and also focus on student strengths. Again, like I mentioned, we do not monitor class attendance or grades. And then this is our contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to give our office a call or send us an email. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Sorry, you had to hear my dog in the background.
No, I completely get it, Allie. Again, as we talked pre-show, I have a couple of small dogs at home as well. So
Yeah, she just always has to be loud.
no, it adds to the presentation. I appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. Well, Allie,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much. I'm gonna pull Emily on screen. So again, we thank Allie. Again, at the end of the presentation, all of us will come back on screen for a moment. As I remind our live viewers, you can enter questions into the comment box there in YouTube, and we can see and respond to those questions in real time. We'll probably respond to them at near the end of the presentation. But again, we welcome and encourage you to ask questions in that comment box right there in YouTube, and we can respond in real time. Again, this is for those who are watching this live. All right. Hey, Emily, welcome. Good to see you. So Emily works in the admissions office for UW-Whitewater. Emily, I'm gonna unmute you. Oh,
I'm really bad at doing that. So
there we go. No, we're good. Okay. So Emily is, again, she works in the admissions office at Wisconsin-Whitewater and can give a little more information just about Whitewater as an institution. Again, MCC is in our own backyard, so they're pretty easy to get information about. As I put in one of the tickers across the bottom, on any given year, usually about 45% of our students take their next step at MCC. Whitewater, though, but because they're so close and because they're such a great institution, they are always amongst one of the favorites for McHenry High School students. So Emily, let's learn a little bit more about what Whitewater offers.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Curtis. Yes, like Curtis said, my name is Emily Leong. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the non-resident admissions counselor at UW-Whitewater. McHenry is one of my main recruiting territories, so I'm super excited to share a little bit about UW-Whitewater today, as well as some specific things, especially looking at McHenry students being non-resident students, some of the opportunities that we allow for our non-resident students. And Allie kind of mentioned some of this stuff, so I won't repeat it. But I'll kind of go over some of the general stuff. Like our name says, we're located in the city of Whitewater, Wisconsin. You can see right there where the Willie the Warhawk head is. And I think that we're kind of in the middle of everything. We're about a little bit over an hour's drive from McHenry, 2 hours from Chicago, an hour each from Rockford and Milwaukee, and about 45 minutes away from Madison. And you can see on the right-hand side, or the left-hand side of Willie, that's where our Rock County campus is. Overall, we're sitting at about 11,000 students, so we definitely do sit in that mid-size range. So especially if you are looking for a campus that still has a really strong sense of community, but still you are looking for smaller class sizes, you want to be more than just a number. I definitely really like our mid-size for this reason. And that's one of the reasons why I chose UW-Whitewater when I was doing my undergrad. You can see the other different types of students that we have resources for. So of course we have 1,200 of our students use our Center for Students with Disabilities, and what a fantastic job that they do. But also we serve a good chunk of our campus as first generation, and we do have a really good population of students who are veterans or actively serving. And we were actually named very recently as one of the best campuses in the United States for veterans or actively serving members. So that's something that I really just like to highlight, especially in these past couple of weeks. And you can see our major points of pride. We are one of the only Wisconsin campuses that are in the top 50 best disability-friendly campuses in the United States. And we are ranked 4 out of 5 stars for LGBTQ inclusivity. Just making sure that all of our students, have the accommodations that they need in order to succeed in the classrooms, but also making sure that our campus is as safe and as welcome to all of our students as possible. Just kind of keep hammering home that really supportive campus community. In the middle of that slide, you can see the different types of extracurricular activities that we offer. So we are known as a very athletic campus. We are Division III when it comes to some of our mainstream sports, football, basketball, and those are some of our most highly attended games. This Saturday, we're actually doing our playoffs against Bethel. So kicking off the playoff season is going to be really fun. We also do have club sports, and we also do offer intramural sports. And I would be remiss to say if I didn't highlight the wheelchair basketball team as well. They are, one of our strongest teams on campus, and have such a really great presence here. Beyond athletics, we also do have over 200 student organizations on our campus. So if students are looking for professional development, we have professional organizations. We have Greek life on our campus. We have identity-based organizations, and we have, clubs, just for fun to meet people of similar interests, whether that be, D&D, if it be one of our tour guides actually started the Coffee Appreciation Club on our campus. So tons of different ways to get involved and meet people on campus who have similar goals to you, similar interests to you, anything like that, just to help our students really find their support group at Whitewater as well. I won't go too much into the nitty-gritty of all of the different types of majors and minors that we offer. Just know that all of our majors and minors are going to fall within our 5 main colleges. So Allie already kind of mentioned our College of Business and Economics, and then also our College of Education and Professional Studies. So we are the largest business school in the state of Wisconsin, and we do license the most first-time teachers in the state of Wisconsin. So business, finance, accounting, and then of course education. But then we also do have our College of Arts and Communication for our performing and visual arts, as well as journalism and communication as well. And then our College of Letters and Sciences for pretty much everything else. So if that's a natural or physical science, if that is a social science, or if that's computer science, and in foreign languages as well, we have a kind of a good mixture of all of that within that college. Across campus, you can see our average class size sits at about 28 students. So hopefully not too different from what your students are currently seeing in their high school classrooms. 100% of those classes are taught by faculty and instructional staff. So just making sure that our students not only have our professors for an academic resource, but also for a professional resource in terms of really helping our students get connected to internships or be their professional references. 93% of our students complete some sort of high impact practice, whether that be an internship, undergraduate research, or study abroad are kind of the main ways that we think of high impact. But having our students get outside of the classroom environment and really do their on-hands experience while they're in school really helps us with that bottom number. 99% of our graduates are employed or enrolled in grad school within a year of graduation. So I know most McHenry students are going to be, I clicked one more before I got too excited. I know most McHenry students are going to be considered non-resident students. So tuition-wise for 2023, we're looking at a full year of tuition being about $17,000, almost $18,000, with an estimated housing cost of $7,600 or so. We're looking at a total of $25,000 for the full year. With that in mind, that is still pretty comparable to a lot of in-state 4-year institutions. And then within our price, we also do include a lot of things. So the biggest thing is going to be our textbook rental. We have most of our textbooks covered through this. That is the biggest money saver for our students. As long as those books come back in a good enough condition at the end of the semester, that is not going to be any additional out of pocket. Athletic event tickets, laundry is included in housing, so parents get excited for that. And then tutoring and printing also included in that price. We offer over 150,000 hours of tutoring, and so that's a really great academic resource for our students. Everything that you see on the bottom row of that graphic is a little bit more to do with entertainment. Our fitness facilities in both the Williams Center and the Wells Towers, the bowling alley, and the movies that we show on the weekends in the University Center, and then any shows that we have in Young Auditorium are all going to be included in that price. For our non-resident students, we also do offer non-resident scholarships. So those are going to be based off of unweighted GPA on a 4.0 scale, and those will be awarded to students as long as they are admitted to the university. And McHenry is really good at putting the unweighted GPA on their transcripts right away. So just a short thank you to McHenry for doing that, so I don't have to do the math on that. So then the next thing is just going to be about the application process. I know you folks are probably in all different parts of the application process right now, but most of this is going to stay the same from year to year. We're currently on the UW System app and the Common app as well. For incoming freshmen, all we'll need is a copy of your high school transcript. So we currently are test optional, and we currently do not have any application fees. And then if you are taking any credits or are thinking about going to MCC first and then transferring, we do require transcripts for any credits taken at MCC as well, or any other institution after point of graduation. So if you folks would like to just keep up with what's happening at UW Whitewater, all of our social media should be listed right there. But we, so if you just want to see, you know, the upcoming stuff with the next football game, or any of the other fun campus events that we have, feel free to check us out there. We also do have a Facebook page for all of our admitted students, and that's a really great way for our students to actually meet roommates as well. So that is a really great tool for all of our incoming freshmen. So I just want to thank MCC for organizing this, and thank you for letting me share a little bit about the campus that I love so much.
And I did the same thing. I forgot to unmute myself. So Emily, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about Whitewater from the admissions perspective. Again, the primary purpose of this particular presentation is, you know, disability services, but I think it also gives a little bit of context as to what those disability services look like, kind of in the day-to-day, week-to-week grind of college, as well as the campus community and the living environment. So I like hearing a little bit more about a school in this context, just because, again, I think it helps us just better understand, you know, what those disability services look like, you know, to students, and also hopefully give a little bit of reassurance to any parents or guardians as well. So Allie and Jarrett, I'm going to pull you back on screen here. So there we are. At this point, to our live viewers, again, as you can see, we got scrolling. I've mentioned it a couple of times. We'll give you one last opportunity here for any of our live viewers to ask any questions. Again, you can simply enter those in the comment box right there in YouTube, and we can respond to them right here in real time. So as I give our live viewers one more chance to do that, I'll throw a question out to our panel here, and anyone or all can respond to this. What's one small piece of advice that you might give a student with disabilities as they transition from high school to college?
I think one of the biggest things is that the level of support is going to look a little different, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be supported, I guess. I have a lot of students that come in and they're used to having a lot more accommodations, and they meet with a resource teacher maybe every day. And necessarily we don't have that. However, that's why we have disability service coordinators to check in. We meet with students weekly, every other week. And also that even if you don't think you're going to need an accommodation, it's still a really good idea to set services up with a disability service office, because you never know. It might be the middle of a semester and you might realize, oh, I do need extended time on my math tests or things like that. So I always tell students to get set up with services right away, even if they don't think they're going to use them. that's super important.
I love that. Allie, thank you so much. Jared, Emily, I don't know if there's anything either of you want to tack on to that.
Sure.
No,
I mean,
oh,
no, you're good, Emily. No, it's no problem.
We'll go Jared first and then Emily.
I mean, I think, yeah, kind of, as I mentioned during the presentation and kind of tacking on to Allie, I think that, again, it's that self-advocacy portion, like really advocating to get your accommodations, advocating if you have a concern, and also, as Allie mentioned in her presentation, advocating to, doing what we call going to your student portal and essentially requesting your accommodations every semester. Again, it's like kind of that self-advocacy piece. And I mean, I think in general too, which is kind of a little different, I guess, from the theme of this presentation, but also advice is like kind of just take time to enjoy the process. You're in a very, exciting time of your life right now of, thinking about college or transitioning to college. And despite how much it can be overwhelming or nerve wracking, there's also those feelings of excitement and things like that. So really enjoy it because you're in a unique time of your life that you'll never get back. So I think it's important to really take that time to enjoy the process.
Yeah, Jared, I love that. Again, it adds some realism to kind of the stress and the grind that can go with this. It's okay to enjoy things, and it's most seniors I work with. It's equal part excitement and anxiety, and that's okay. That's okay. Emily, was there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think that honestly, the best thing, I think this is for students who are, wondering about, certain accommodations, but I also think throughout the whole college process is don't be afraid to let yourself ask the questions and to let yourself learn. Because you're not going to know that these resources exist or that these, specific things exist unless you ask or you learn, through your own research. So just allowing yourself, and that's our whole jobs, right, is to help our students get connected to these things. So just allow yourself. Don't think that any question could be, too simple or too stupid or anything like that. That is our job is to help you in your journey and your search to really find the things that you need in order to succeed. So I think that's the biggest thing for me.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much, Emily. So I have not seen any questions roll in here. I'll just add something myself here, a fact, an anecdote, and then we'll close things up here. Something that I should have mentioned up top, but just as kind of a reminder, both MCC and Whitewater are public institutions. Again, MCC is a public community college. Whitewater is a public four-year university. All public institutions nationwide are legally obligated to provide accommodation services. Most private schools also offer them, but private schools don't have to. Because they don't receive federal tax dollars, they aren't required to provide accommodation services. Although, again, most will because they know that if they don't, they're going to lose out on thousands of potential students. So just something to keep in mind, as folks are taking a look around and exploring things. Quick little personal anecdote and revealing just a little bit about me and not going into too much detail. I have a student who has I have a child myself who has an IEP, and I know that I would feel completely safe if she attended either one of your institutions, given the level of support and care that both MCC and Whitewater provide. So again, sometimes it's easier for us to understand things if we can put them in our own context. And again, I would be happy and secure, sending my child off to either institution, knowing full well that she will get the support and consideration that she needs and deserves. Which again, just relating things to our parents and guardians who might be watching here as well. So on behalf of my colleagues, Emily and Allie from University of Wisconsin-Whitewater and Jarrett over at MCC, I'm Curtis Mankey, a college and career counselor at McHenry High School, reminding you to ask yourself the question, what are you looking forward to?